Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 1998 Toyota Celica SS3. Up front is a 2.0 liter inline 4, and down below is a 5-speed manual transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this Celica for two reasons. First of all, it's a JDM import and it's right-hand drive, which is always a fun treat, but this is a trim level that we never got. We never got the SS3 or any of the SS Celicas here in the United States, so that's always a treat, and there's a lot that goes into that. But the second reason is the fact that this has a ton of super rare Japanese option parts on the car, so much so that the owner doesn't even know what some of them are. So I'll be walking you through this car today and sharing this special one-of-a-kind automobile. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that 2-liter inline 4, better known as the Beams engine. Well, that was special for the SS3. Now, as you went up the SS trim level 1, 2, and 3, it got more and more power, where the SS1 only made about 140 horsepower, the SS2 made about 181, this makes 200 horsepower, and as I mentioned, it has plenty of aftermarket goodies to bump that number up even more. One of those goodies is ITBs, or individual throttle bodies, which not only sound great, but help the engine breathe a lot better. Also sounds pretty good too. You'll also notice an ARC or ARC strut brace under the hood. That is very, very rare and hard to find. And the Beams motor is one of the most highly regarded engines from Toyota. It's the 3S GE engine, but Beams stands for Breakthrough Engine with Advanced Mechanism System. Basically, all the bells and whistles. That means it's really rev happy, and it just wants to keep on pushing. It wants you to keep egging it on and going for more and more and more. Is it the fastest thing on 4 wheels I've ever driven? No, but it's a very engaging experience. It's such a lovely 4-cylinder that, like I said, it just begs you to keep pushing it. It wants to go that extra mile every single day of the week. And so whether you're out on a racetrack like this vehicle was built to do, or driving around town, you're having a very fun, very engaging experience, and that's what these engines are so good at. And for the power plant in the 90s, 200 horsepower is pretty good. Now, like I said, paired to it is a 5-speed manual transmission. You could have gotten the Celica with an automatic, but the SS trim levels only came with manual, and so we're having some fun with that today. Last but not least, this Celica is front-wheel drive. They did make the GT4, which was an all-wheel drive turbocharged Celica that was kind of the top dog. This isn't that. This does not have the all-wheel drive, and so a lot of people think that because of that big wing, that's what it is, but that's actually not the case. How does it feel to drive the SS3 Celica from Japan? Well, it rides rough. It is a stiff ride, but to be expected out of a track-oriented vehicle. That's kind of the whole point of it. But everything else, all the inputs are very direct. The steering is bang on. The clutch is friendly and durable. The engine likes to rev out and sing. And so it's one of those cars that you kind of stop worrying about the mechanics of it and can just focus on the driving feel, the driving love, the driving passion. You know, this is one of those cars that it's worth more than its parts put together. And that is really the mark of a fantastic automobile, because I'm not worrying about, you know, if I had a better clutch, no, it's a second set of skin at the end of the day. That's what it's like to drive a Celica SS3. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 4 gauges. Off to the left is my tachometer, in the center is my speedometer, and off to the right is the coolant temperature and fuel. I do have a little digital tachometer in front of me, very 90s, and the steering wheel's been replaced with a Momo unit. Off to the right, we do have an aftermarket gauge up on the A-pillar. We also have this blue button and this Ultim peak up and down button. No idea what it does. If anyone has any insight on that, is greatly appreciated. Climate vent and a engine button that says don't press. So I'm not gonna press it, but man, do I want to. I have no idea what it does, and neither does the owner. Moving on to the door, we have power mirrors, power locks, and power windows, all things that you would find in a normal, pretty standard car. And moving into the center, we do have a digital clock, we have our hazard switch, 2 climate control vents, an aftermarket radio that will talk to you when you start the vehicle, love that. Our climate controls, which I do get auto, very, very nice for 1998. We have a little cubby with a 12-volt outlet and the shifter. The shifter has been replaced with a Momo unit, as well as this sort of plasticky shift boot. I have to say it's one of the few things in this interior I don't really love, but very period correct, very much of the era. Then we do have a little coin holder, ashtray looking thing, and we have 2 slide out cup holders. We'll do a big friggin' bottle test. Obviously it fails, but very cool to see nevertheless. Little center console and the seats. Now the seats have been removed. The SS3 normally would have gotten special seats that had Celica embroidered into them, but they've been swapped out at some point in its life for the more dramatic racing buckets. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, time to get in the back, or at least attempt to get into the back of the Celica SS3. Now, something interesting. Oh, ow, 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 ow. Okay, all right. Ooh, this is not good. This is probably one of the worst back seats I've ever been in. One of the interesting things about being back here is that the Japanese models actually got a 3rd seat belt in the back. So there's a middle seat belt back here. I assume this is some like regulation or Japanese insurance thing or something like that, because I would not recommend putting anyone back here, let alone 3 human beings. But it did come with a 3rd seat belt, and the American models did not. So very, very interesting to say the least. We also get these really cool red camo seats. This would have reflected the front seats as well, but obviously the front seats have been swapped out. But these front seats, carbon fiber. Pretty cool. Let's hop into the very back. We have a very interesting part back there, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, around the back of the Celica SS3, we do have a little key turn here. Pop it up and pull it up. It is really heavy, but it will stay up on its own. So here's the trunk of the Celica. We've done a couple of these on the channel before, nothing really too crazy. However, if we look down here, we actually get this big strut brace, or not even strut brace, this is just like a chassis brace back here. I have no idea what this is. The owners don't have any idea what this is. There's no name brand on it. I don't even know if it's for a Celica, but it looks like it goes into factory holes in the floor. I have no idea, but this was to stiffen it up. This is a strut brace that was a factory option or meant for this vehicle, and those are really rare to find as well. So a lot of cool chassis bracing back here, because this was apparently a track car back in Japan. So very, very cool to see all of that. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and this has been painted, but we have no idea what color. There's no color code for this, and when it was sold at the auction in Japan, it was white. And when it got here, it was blue. So no real idea what happened in between then. But this is the standard SS3 rear wing, which is very, very cool to see. This does have glass headlights from Japan, something we didn't get here in the States. And it does have a body kit. So the rear bumper, side skirts, and front lip are aftermarket, painted, again, somewhere in Japan at some time. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving this SS3 Celica from 1998? Well, first of all, I love it. It's such a fun joy to drive. It's really wonderful. The Beams engine is every bit as fantastic as everyone online has ever said. If you don't want to believe the hype, I'm sorry, but it is worth the hype. I think in one regard, I really respect and like this car because it is such a snapshot of late 90s, early 2000s Japanese tuning culture. A big part of that was just kind of bolting on as many cool, interesting, and unique parts as you could. It was almost this walking, rolling bling fest of, oh, he has that seat, oh, he has that shift knob, oh, he has that steering wheel and that gauge and that strut bar. It was kind of this name brand makes the car type of era that we just see less of nowadays. The more cool, rare parts you could tack onto your car, the cooler you were. And that's what this car is. And everywhere I look is something special and unique. This shift knob is one of a few. This gauge is one of a few. This strut bar is one of a few. These wheels are super light and were rare even in the 90s. That's super cool. But I also want to talk about the SS3 as a whole, because this wasn't the top dog. This wasn't the GT4 that was in Gran Turismo and all the crazy games. This wasn't the car that you had the poster of growing up as a kid. This wasn't the rally-bred Celica. This was a step down from that. It made about 50 less horsepower. It wasn't turbocharged, and it was still only front-wheel drive. I think this car is an important lesson in the fact that there is beauty, there is glory, there is something special, as I shut it off, there is something special about sort of the middle ground. This car is amazing and fantastic in its own regard, but people walk back it and furrow their brow because it isn't the all-out GT4. And when you do that, you're missing something super special. This car is unique, and honestly, I've seen more GT4s at car shows than an SS3. I've never even seen one of these before I got behind the wheel. It's special, and it's something that a lot of people overlook. And I'm here today to do a PSA for you, to not overlook the SS3s. These are incredibly rare and incredibly forgotten cars. But if you overlook it, you're missing something so special. This car is a one-of-a-kind automobile, and that is just absolutely wonderful. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Fred for letting me borrow his SS3 Celica for today's video. What an amazing, cool, fantastic car. Fred was absolutely wonderful to work with. Him and his brother are big Celica fanatics, and I appreciate people like them for carrying on the brand and a nameplate that, as of the making of this video, has been dormant for over 20 years. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.